And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers from coast to coast and worldwide to a very special Thursday edition of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. Today is Thursday, the 2nd day of August 2012. I'm Doug Hagmann. We are in studio. We are broadcasting live. This is a live broadcast. They're always live, folks, unless, of course, you're listening to this via podcast. But at any rate, with me in studio here is Joe Hagmann. I got a little hair on my microphone there. Sorry about that. With me in studio is Joe Hagmann. He's the co-host of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report and also the Associate Director of the Northeast Intelligence Network. And if you want to listen to, or if you want to watch us live, ladies and gentlemen, HomelandSecurityUS.com. Click on the link there. That's HomelandSecurityUS.com. If you're listening to this between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time, and you'd like to watch us live, compliments of the Christians United Broadcasting Network and the hard work of Troy. You can certainly listen to us or watch us there as well. The benefit of that too is we do have some videos to show. With me, of course, as I said, is Joe. Joe, welcome tonight.
Glad to be here. We got a lot to get into today, this Thursday, August 2nd edition of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, and it's 8 months we've been broadcasting every night, Monday through Friday.
Today, that's
8
right.
months.
So happy anniversary to us, I guess, right? 8 months anniversary, yeah.
And just to let Troy, we can hear like a strong wind there. It's down now. Thank you. I didn't know where that was coming from.
Just thought I was in a wind tunnel, actually. But
yeah. We got a lot to get into tonight. But as our 8 months anniversary, we haven't really got into how long we've been on air. We've been on air since March of 2011, but on an every night basis since January 2nd of this year.
I got to tell you, man, look, I feel like it's been a battle every day. Every day has been a battle, and there's some good days, where we've kind of won the battle, but then there's some days that, man, we just got pounded,
And in the 8 months, we've been doing this with you guys, going on this journey. We've been learning, almost as much as we hope you're learning. And it is a fellowship in the Lord, in His Word to learn more.
That's right.
And as we grow, hopefully you continue to grow, and more people will, come to the Lord. And we have a common goal to find a solution in Christ. And even if you are a listener, a new listener, because we were picking up listeners from all over the world, different countries, different faiths, different, everything.
I got 2 emails from Scotland today listening to us.
Yeah, and even if you're not saved, if you don't have the Lord as your Savior, just hang around. Nobody's telling you have to, but just stay around and listen for the message, and let your heart be your guide, because you will be led in the right direction if you're supposed to.
And we're growing at such a fantastic rate, and I've got to say that it's because of you, folks. It's because of you who are spreading the word. We've been in contact with people like Steve Quayle, Greg Evenson, Sheriff Mack, others, who are listening to our show. In fact, yesterday I had talked to someone in Hollywood. I got to tell you, I'm not going to mention any names. I don't want to do that, but the name recognition because of our show and because of other things, it's phenomenal. There is a right wing in Hollywood, not a right wing. There's a conservative element to Hollywood, and it blew me away.
You're saying there's a conservative movement in Hollywood.
No. I'm saying
because Hollywood is definitely not conservative.
No, there's a conservative element that lives within Hollywood.
Okay.
In other words,
it's
like behind enemy lines.
A few individuals who have the ability to understand what's going on.
Right.
And, over these 8 months, we've been covering articles and news information that's really important, some of it not so important, and as time goes on, we see what becomes and what was important, and we're trying to put these individual pieces into a puzzle to see the bigger picture, and Hollywood plays a role of death, destruction, and indoctrination of that culture into our youth. But what bothers me about Hollywood are the entertainers, the rappers, people that say, they want to be looked up to. They want people to follow them, yet, they promote music that is just pure evil. They promote the culture of violence in the movies. They continue to deny the Lord, and we see that now in more sporting events. I got a letter, and from my understanding, this is not an old letter, but apparently it's been circulated around for a while through Christians back and forth, and it is about Christian persecution, and it's about a high school, Tennessee football high school. There was a statement read over a PA system at a football game at a Roanoke County High School, Kingston, Tennessee, by Principal Judy McLeod. Jody McLeod.
Yeah, no relation.
Wow, that's weird. Yeah. It says, it has always been the custom of the Rowan County High School football games to say a prayer and play the national anthem to honor our God and country. Due to a recent ruling by the Supreme Court, I am told that saying a prayer is a violation of a federal case law. As I understand the law at this time, I can use the public facility to approve of sexual perversion and call it an alternative lifestyle. And if someone is offended, that's okay.
Wow.
I can use it to condone sexual promiscuity by dispensing condoms and calling it safe sex. If someone is offended, that's okay. I can even use this public facility to present the merits of killing of unborn babies as a viable means of birth control. Designate a school day as Earth Day and involve students in activities to worship religiously and praise the goddess Mother Earth and call it ecology. I can use literature, videos, and presentations in the classroom that depicts people with strong traditional Christian convictions as simple-minded and ignorant and call it enlightenment. However, if anyone uses this facility to honor God...
I know, Dr. Chappie, I know. But a lot of people haven't heard that. Okay?
No, this is the first time I heard it today, and I wanted to read it on air.
I know it's old news, but it's
touching.
It's important to listen to, so bear with us. Those of you who heard it, bear with us, because we're picking up listeners, all over the place, so just bear with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can use literature, video presentations in the classroom that depicts people with strong traditional Christian convictions as simple-minded and ignorant, and call it enlightenment. However, if anyone uses this facility to honor God and to ask Him to bless this event with the safety and good sportsmanship, then the federal case law is violated. This appears to be inconsistent at best and at worst diabolical. Apparently, we are to be tolerant of everything and anyone except God and His commandments. Nevertheless, as a high school principal, I frequently am asked students to abide by rules with which they do not necessarily agree. For me to do otherwise would be inconsistent at best, at worst hypocritical. I suffer from that affliction enough unintentionally. I certainly do not need to add to the intentional transgression. For this reason I shall render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and refrain from praying at this time. However, if you feel inspired to praise and thank God and ask Him in the name of Jesus to bless this event, please feel free to do so. As far as I know, that's not against the law yet. And I came across that today, and like I said, from what I understood, it was a circulated email from, different people, and I'm not sure how long it's been in circulation, obviously, since last fall.
Well, 3 or 4 years, but let me just say this. 3 to 4 years ago, that was being ridiculed. I would get emails, or I got that in an email form.
But it's so correct. What he says here, how he says about abortion. I can use this facility to present the merits of killing of an unborn baby as a viable means of birth control.
Yeah.
And if it offends people, that doesn't matter. Meaning they can promote,
look, you can do anything you want.
Abortion in school. Yeah. You can promote sexual, instead of abstinence, promote, safe sex, as they call it.
Right.
Instead of, there's a laundry list of offensive things
of course.
that can be promoted, that are promoted in public schools. Yet, if you decide to invoke the name of Jesus, if you decide to ask or share your knowledge, love, and understanding of Jesus with someone else in schools, you will be suspended. You could be threatened. You could be given detention. You could be ridiculed and made fun of. We are in a generation of what it says, I think, in Timothy. We are, the people are full of self, materialistic.
That's right.
Egotistical, prideful, godless, and, the list goes on. We are in that generation, and as we're going to get into the news right now, as the drought in the United States intensifies in most parched areas of the U.S., the spiritual drought in the United States continues to intensify, as the churches are not speaking up, doing their part in guiding their flock to the truth. Same way the water is not being guided to the parts of the country that need it the most, where the rain and the moisture can save the crops that are failing and the coming high food prices that we are going to see due to these droughts.
Now, this isn't, look, some of this...
And I read this in Joel yesterday.
Yeah, you did. But I really believe that some of this drought is an engineered, this weather modification is engineering this drought. Because you would think, okay, look, if we have the ability to modify weather, and people say, look, this weather modification, we've got it. Okay, well, tell me why, we're not cloud seeding or doing whatever we can if we've got the ability to end that drought. Why is there a drought? And it's a simple question. Look, it's a simple question. I don't know to what extent weather modification exists. I have my suspicions, but you're right though about the drought. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier, folks. I was on today at between 5 o'clock and 5:30 this afternoon. I was on Toledo, forgive me for not remembering the call numbers.
Toronto? Toledo?
No, Toledo.
Okay.
I just don't remember the call numbers for the station. Brian Wilson.
And this was the story about the Tennessee lawmaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was interesting.
Even more sense. We talked, it was breaking kind of on air last night when we were on. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the article written on May 7th by my father, the planned revolutionary Obama's takeover of the elections, or something to that effect. The planned revolutionary, search for that, for May 7th, was picked up, and like we just read, that email circulated by Christians for years. People put together different emails and circulate them to their friends, and they get recirculated. Well, this Tennessee lawmaker found my father's article from May 7th.
He didn't find that. He found a very poorly worded excerpt from from the Constitution Party website.
Okay,
of Florida.
Okay.
Which
that's where that
really screwed up the whole thing. But okay.
But so what this lawmaker did was forward this email to his constituents. Inside the email contained my father's article, which had information from the Department of Homeland Security insider stating that there might be some kind of false flag event on Obama, his family, the country, to usher in a martial law to stop the election or to get the favor of the American people for the elections.
That's right.
Now, he forwarded that information out as vital and like a need to know. You need to read this. Well, he issued a retraction and an apology, and it made big news. And now they are calling it, what would they say, fabricated?
The
title of the article is Tennessee Lawmaker Retracts Fabricated Email.
It made me sound like a lunatic. And yeah, you're right. It was unbelievable what happened. So I called the congressman's office today, and thank you very much. 1370 WSPD, Brian Wilson,
Toledo's News Talk Radio.
That's
1370.
Right. And Brian Wilson's the author of the book I've got over in my office, the little black book on Whitewater. And when I talked to his producer today, she said, you may not know Brian Wilson. And I said, wait, that name sounds really familiar outside of the broadcasting venues. I said, yeah, and come to find out, he had taken over, he had done sub for Art Bell back in the 90s and early 2000s. And she said, yeah, he also wrote the little black book on Whitewater. I said, I've got that book. And she said, no, there's only like 5 people in the world that have that book. I said, no, I got the book. And so anyway, it was a fabulous conversation off air. But Brian Wilson is a great guy. I got to tell you something. If you want to, you talk about the conservatives, or not the conservatives, but the truth seekers. This is one guy to watch on mainstream media. This is one guy that really deserves the credit. But I didn't mean to interrupt. But this lawmaker stuff. Look, there is. I can't show you the email right now, but I got an email today saying that this plan, or that the reason that this picked up steam is an effort to destroy my reputation, our reputation, take listenership away from this show. And there is a connection between us reporting this. Now, there are two emails I got. One was offering this as a possibility. The second one was more definitive.
And I'll tell you, there are sabotage efforts underway about this show. We can even prove them through screenshots of different numbers and calculations of listeners that change at a pace that's not normal, that are altered after the fact. We have the before and after shots. But kind of getting back into the news,
wait, I just want to tell you this.
Dovetails with what you're going to finish saying.
Oh, go on.
With the Tennessee lawmaker, the insider DHS info that's been coming out, not just from yours, but from Alserman Report and many other sources saying massive civil war is imminent. The Department of Homeland Security is preparing for war with the American people, or preparing to stop a war between the American people if society were to collapse.
Right.
Now there's an article that came out of the New York Times today. Inquiry into U.S. leaks is casting chill over coverage. FBI agents are on a hunt for leakers. Have interviewed current and former high-level government officials from multiple agencies in recent weeks, casting a distant chill over press coverage of national security issues as agencies decline routine interview requests and refuse to provide background briefings.
Folks, listen, this is so important.
The criminal investigation, which has reached into the White House and the Pentagon, the National Security Agency, and the CIA, appears to be the most sweeping inquiry into intelligence disclosures in years.
Hey, wait a minute, use this. Excuse us.
I just killed a 20-foot spider that was crawling up the
side of a Volkswagen.
But no, back to this article. The sweeping inquiries into the intelligence disclosures in recent years is what they're looking for.
That's right.
It coincides with Senate consideration of new legislation designed to curb intelligence officials' exchanges with reporters that intelligence veterans and civil libertarians fear could be counterproductive and may raise constitutional issues. Basically, they're going after, the FBI is on a manhunt for people leaking information from inside the executive branch of the federal government. Not only executive branch, the CIA,
but all of them, all the intelligence agencies.
Yeah.
Go figure. I mean, look, there it is. If you don't believe us, look at the New York Times.
The Obama administration has set a record for prosecuting leaks of classified information to the news media, with 6 cases to date, more than under all previous presidents combined. So he's prosecuted 6 whistleblowers, people who have leaked classified information. Sometimes not always, classified information to the point that it's damaging to individuals' lives. More damaging to individuals' political careers, and also legal statuses, whether criminal or not criminal.
And the thing is, it's not. Look, that article says too. Well, I mean, you pointed this out too. It is not leaking out just classified or
right. I mean, it's not leaking out missile code secrets. It's not leaking out, strategic missile sites and attack plans. They're leaking out information like drones are domestically spying on Americans. People are being put on no-fly lists. That kind of information. DHS insiders speaking out against government corruption in the upcoming civil war that the Department of Homeland Security is preparing for.
And they're looking. Believe me, according to my source, they're looking. They are polygraphing. Okay, they're using the polygraph right now in DHS like it's a Slurpee machine. Okay. They are polygraphing a lot of people. If they think that you're leaking secrets, or someone else is leaking not secrets but information, they're polygraph. They're making polygraph a condition of employment or continued employment. And this, I got this from my source here this week. I'm not going to say what day, but he said, look, they are really on a manhunt here, and it's not for, as you say, it's not for anything sensitive. It's for anyone talking to journalists. It's for anyone talking to outsiders. Mm-hmm. And they're even going after people who are talking to members of their own family about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the New York Times.
Nobody's off limits.
This.
in the story we talked about, remember we talked about how I always used to say Anwar al-Awlaki ate dinner at the Pentagon?
Yeah, and I want to smack you for sending me this information. Look, if folks, I'm
going to post this in the chat room.
No. Don't post that. Don't post that. Because you know why?
Why?
Because I was going to smack you. I'll tell you why. If you go on our website, HomelandSecurityUS.com, okay, and if you do a search...
Okay, so you had this... How come we never talked about this?
I've got the search warrant, a copy of the search warrant.
Well, how come we never talked about this when I would bring this up? Did you forget? You had this information.
Okay.
The strange case of Anwar al-Awlaki is the article name on our website.
Right.
You post that article in the chat.
Okay.
I'll post this article in the chat.
Folks,
Anwar al-Awlaki, top official...
you're not going to see the picture.
Official admits FBI had Anwar al-Awlaki in custody before letting him go in 2002. He was in custody.
Hang on just a second here.
Let go before 2002, and then he returned to the U.S. to eat dinner at the Pentagon.
See, look,
it's absolutely insane. This is a man who was an American-born Muslim cleric who was killed by a U.S. drone strike illegally in Yemen. His son was also killed. His 16-year-old son was also killed in the attack, who could be said as an innocent civilian. I don't know anybody that he killed. There was no evidence brought up against this man. There was no conviction, no charges, no jury, nothing.
But besides that, look, he was on the radar since when?
He was a double agent.
1990s.
He was an Osama bin Laden miniature. He was a double agent working for extreme Muslim recruitment for the CIA. Hussein, the shooter from Fort Hood, went through him.
Do you believe that?
Hussein, the Husseini guy that shot up Fort Hood, communicated with him?
Yes.
Him and this Adam Gadon, the grandson of the Southern Poverty Law Center owner, who was the top, American-born terrorist in Al-Qaeda, the top Al-Qaeda American.
Right.
These people are double agents. They're CIA plants into this fake Al-Qaeda.
Okay, I understand. Okay, look, I understand Anwar al-Awlaki dinner at the Pentagon. Okay, I understand that. But do you believe that he was a double agent for the FBI, an actual working for the FBI?
Yeah.
Or like an operational asset for the FBI?
Yeah, I do. I believe he was being paid.
You know what?
And he was given,
let's open the phones. Open the phones at 661-244-9839. That's 661-244-9839.
Please,
that with authority.
If we can, weigh in with this Anwar al-Awlaki situation. Give us your take on what you thought he was. Because look at Osama bin Laden, a.k.a. Tim Osman, as dubbed by the CIA under his code name. He was an operational asset for the CIA and the Mujahideen back in 1979 when Afghanistan was being invaded by Russia.
Right.
They fought off the Russian force. Our U.S. backed them, and they turned into the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, which in turn attacked us. And we're doing the same thing now, and we've done it in Libya, in Egypt. We're doing it in Syria.
Yeah,
we are funding Al-Qaeda. Obama just signed a secret order with the CIA to put U.S. troops alongside with Al-Qaeda to overthrow pro-Assad government officials and the government itself.
Yes, that's very true. Okay. Now, but let's talk about Anwar al-Awlaki, because I have not read the Fox News story because look, let me just tell you about al-Awlaki real quick, okay? This guy received a degree from the Colorado State University, compliments in part to your tax dollars.
Yep.
Your tax dollars. You paid for it. $60,000 in scholarship money he fraudulently received from the U.S. government, from a U.S. taxpayer funded program. That was his he lied on his application for a U.S. Agency for International Development grant. In 1990, he lied on a Social Security application and college documents, stating that he was an international student born in Yemen.
This guy could have been our president.
Yeah, go figure. Okay, he then obtained a master's degree in education. No stupid guy. I mean, master's degree in education from San Diego State University. He attended George Washington University for a PhD in human services.
Yeah,
or human resource development.
And then I want to pick up from the article Eric posted in the chat room. Thanks, Eric, from InfoWars. FBI admits Pentagon dinner guest Anwar al-Awlaki worked for them.
Okay.
Pentagon dinner guest and Osama bin Laden fill-in al-Awlaki was in FBI custody, but the agency let him go. Assistant Director Mark Giuliano has told the House Appropriations Committee the incident occurred in October 2002 at the JFK airport. The American-born cleric was a top CIA target and named a serious threat by the head of British Secret Intelligence Service at the time. Former FBI agents explained that the release was likely because the agency wanted to track him or work with him as an agency contact. A more likely explanation is that Anwar al-Awlaki worked as an operative for the agency. And it goes on to say al-Awlaki was allegedly killed in October of 2011 by a CIA Predator drone in Yemen. The following year, he supposedly called for a biological attack on America from the grave.
Now, look, and folks, again, feel free to call in on this. Our call-in numbers 661-244-9839, and be a part of the fastest-growing internet show or fastest-growing radio show on the internet.
And the reason this one Awlaki story is so important because it shows you the broader picture that's going on. It shows you how criminal our government is, and it's not that this story is so important. It's that the culture of our government, the getting in bed with the enemy, the lesser of two evils, as they would try to explain it away as, when really they are the eviler of two evils. And this is what they're doing, saying, well, we have to kind of go with these guys if we want to stop Assad from murdering, thousands of people in the streets, when actually the U.S. Al-Qaeda-backed rebels are the ones doing that. But it's just this is a small example of what we are seeing at a large scale rate happening with our intelligence agencies and extreme Muslim terrorists.
Look, at this point, now from being when I was rah-rahing the formation of the DHS and saying, oh, what a great thing, and let's bomb the hell out of these people. Let's do it. That's where I was in 2001 and 2002 and even 03 and 04. But as time goes on, and Joe, you make a good point here, and Eric and others in the interactive chat that we've got. I got to tell you, you guys make great points. Right now, we don't know, and one of them, I guess really, earlier this year, I had an intelligence agent, probably one of the best guys that I've known. He wrote me something, and he said, "Look, can't do this anymore. Cannot do this anymore. Cannot. I'm done." And I said, "What's dialogue?" I said, "What's going on? Family problems. What's going on?" He said, "I don't know who the enemy is anymore. I don't know who the enemy is anymore." I said, "Wait a minute. What do you mean?" And he said, "Look at what we've been finding over." And this is a gentleman that's been with me for 10 years. And he said, "I tell you, everything that I'm seeing right now puts 9/11 on its head. Puts even Oklahoma City, the anthrax attacks of 2002, all of this stuff." He said, "Who's the enemy? Who's doing this?" And he had a good point. But to me, that was like, holy cow! And this is a guy I really believe he had a good handle on the Islamic component. But he did say, look, they're using the Muslims, and they are. They're using the Muslims.
Yeah. But we have a question in the chat room why the website was named Homeland Security. And as we have new listeners and new people, I'm glad you asked this in the chat room because it does need to be explained. Because when the site was started by you, it was right after the terrorist attacks in 9/11. Yep. It was doing something to help the country, not knowing what the nefarious purposes of Homeland Security was, and the URL is popular,
But it was.
Well, and then even after that, 2007, we had to start saying we're not affiliated with any government agency because it does have a bad. Homeland Security wasn't always a bad word, like it is now. It didn't have the bad connotations to it, and people ask us about that and say, "Oh, you government shill." Homeland Security, U.S. is your website. Obviously, you work for Homeland Security. No, we're the real Homeland Security. Foreign and domestic enemies. Right. It's the truth, no matter where it lies, even if it ended up in our backyard. You know what I mean?
Well, and if I had to do this all over again, too, and you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, we had, when we got together after the attacks of 9/11, we had a group of, it's called the Northeast Intelligence Network. Okay?
Right.
And we had a group of investigators, all investigators across the country, worldwide, basically in the private sector, top of their game. They said, let's get together. And so I said, okay, what I'll do is,
And I wish with Northeast .com, NortheastIntelligenceNetwork.com, but that's kind of long. But anyway, that's the short explanation.
But we decided on that name, and we got it. Just you just don't change it. But
I'll tell you what.
Well, what's
if a government agency wants to say give us $100,000 for the URL, we'll change it to NortheastIntelligenceNetwork.com, and you can have a HomelandSecurityUS.com.
Yeah, or if any private buyer wants to buy it, no, it's
$200,000
but seriously, it was not done intentionally. I mean, with any intent to pretend we're real DHS. It was done with an element of patriotism. In retrospect, it wasn't the greatest of ideas. But the upside of this is we get a lot of kind of email that people think they're communicating with DHS. So we get some really interesting emails. But anyway, I probably shouldn't have said that. But nonetheless, but all of this. Look,
and link somebody wrote in the chat room, the real Homeland Security, that they are not the real Homeland Security. They are the Homeland Insecurity. They are the ones peering into our lives. And before we start taking a call, I want to hit this one article. Lawmaker candidates almost being stalked. Dozens of House members from both parties are saying they have to put a halt to the increasingly invasive tactics of the alternative media and reporters attack interviewing, and they feel like they're being stalked. They don't like it. Well, you know what I got to say? Tell these congressmen that they'll stop being stalked once they stop the DHS from stalking every American citizen, because these politicians chose to be public figures. They knew what came with that, being in the spotlight. They knew that they were going to be, exposed to these questions. And I got to say something else. I saw a report that Rand Paul said he wanted to make a law or make some kind of regulation to where these alternative media reporters wouldn't be able to. It was way out of, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, or give me a link, or I'll find one. Rand Paul said something basically like, these reporters shouldn't be able to come up to me and ask me tough questions. And this goes along with this article.
What's going on with this then? What's going on with him?
I'm not sure. I saw that in passing yesterday. I didn't get into it because I knew it would be a long night. And but yeah, we're gonna take your call 661-244-9839. The annual Alalaki incident. You can talk about the politicians feeling like they're being stalked, and information on what Rand Paul said. I'll do a search on that. And in the meantime, we are going to.
One thing I want to. I
just saw bank of callers.
Ohio has reported 10 confirmed cases of H3N2V, which is a variation of the
H5N1. We have to go back because there was an article we did. I remember this. I think it was in February or March that talked about a scientist said 5 tweaks to the H1N1. H1N1. 5 tweaks to the H1N1 could create a deadly virus, incurable deadly virus.
Right.
And that sounds like 3 or 5 tweaks, H3N2 or whatever. But let's go to the phone.
Go ahead. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for not taking the calls as I should have here. But let's go to the bank of calls. Joe, if you want to use this one, go ahead. It's up to you.
Okay, we'll do that.
And
yours actually looks nicer than mine. Maybe I will have to start using Explorer for these broadcasts.
Yeah, it's when you screw up Firefox, it's pretty pathetic.
Okay, we're gonna go to area code 484. You're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann report. Area code 484.
Go ahead, caller. Are you there? Go ahead, caller. 484 area code.
All right,
we're going to put you back on hold there.
All right, we're going to try here.
And look, if we get to you and you just want to listen, for example, if you're just listening by phone, and a lot of people do.
We're going to go to Lucy. I think Lucy wants to talk today. I see the little question mark next to her name. Right. Lucy, are you with us?
Hey, yes, I am.
Hi.
Joe and Doug, how are y'all? We have voting here today, and I just was on the way home and heard on the radio that on Ahmadinejad's site that he has announced today that he is calling August the 17th the day to destroy Israel, and he's asking all the nations of the world to join. Have y'all heard that?
August 17th, you said?
No,
Of this month.
Okay, I have not heard that.
I haven't heard it either.
I would say his calls right now. Yes, Ahmadinejad annihilate Israel. I see the story right here on Drudge. I would say right now, looking at this from the big picture perspective, this is
it's being reported by the
propaganda
Jerusalem Post.
Almost, because we see these how many times a month do we see articles from Ahmadinejad or other people wipe Israel off the map? You know,
right.
We're going to bomb Israel. What about the 50 million people march that we're going to have on Israel a month back? I'm not saying that this is wrong, Lucy. I'm thankful that you brought this to our attention.
I just wanted to know what y'all thought, because he has cried wolf so many times. Yeah,
we're going to have to go through this report and see, if it seems like another rant, or if he is putting some...
Let me just, Lucy, if I may, and Joe, if I may, let me just say this. It's not really Ahmadinejad that's calling the shots there.
Right,
it's the mullahs behind it's the mullahs that are ultimately...
Yes.
It's the princes in Saudi Arabia, the king...
Totally.
Well, mullahs
totally.
In Persia or in Iran, the mullahs.
The global elite.
Yes, and they're waiting for the 12th imam to,
Yeah.
the Antichrist, whatever you want to call it.
But you know what?
We would call him
there's no doubt that there is going to be a war with Iran, as Iran does not have a central bank, as Iran is one of the last holdouts, along with Syria, in the Middle East for westernization, for Western banking systems, for
it's pitiful.
colonialization, as they call it, nation building, really. And they will, and as the Bible states, along with Syria, will be destroyed. And
yes.
This is being done by the synagogue of Satan, the rulers of the world, behind the scenes, most of them who call themselves Jewish, but are nothing of the sort.
That's right.
As it says in the Bible, in Revelations 3:9. And, it's just frustrating when we know all this is going on, yet so many people are only seeing it in small pictures. And I just, I'm grateful for our audience that, hopefully we can help you see through some of these headlines.
So what do you think, Lucy? What do you think about that? When you saw the report, what did you think about it?
Well, I just didn't know what to think. I thought, is this a false flag? Is this to deter us from something that's really going to happen, just like, all the build-up on the Olympics? And then I started thinking, the gun shooter in Colorado, was that so that the case on Holder would, be forgotten by the American people? Because I don't believe that man was the real man who did the thing. I think he was just brainwashed.
I agree.
There's nothing on the media, or mainstream media, this crazy media. I don't listen to any of that. And I don't even trust Drudge, to tell you the truth.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's not... that's a great mindset to have, and I got to commend you for that, because a lot of people, do trust certain alternative media sites, thinking, well, these people have to be the real deal. But you're right. Trust the Lord, trust your God.
and look,
Amen.
We're often not often, but we're incorrect as well with some things.
We've been caught reporting disinfo. We've been caught, being wrong on issues.
Caught on mistakes. We don't deliberately report misinformation.
No, I mean, we've been
not on purpose. I mean, y'all are seeking the truth, and you're asking for the Lord for discernment, and that's the difference. We don't know if Drudge loves Christ. We don't know anything about him. So how can you trust someone unless you know that they really love Jesus?
That's a great question.
And even then, you have to question.
Yes. Steve and I were talking about betrayal today. Steve Quayle and I were talking about betrayal today.
Yes.
And he said we were, and I asked him a question. I said, Steve, if we are all Christians, and we were talking about a specific person that an ex-convict, and I'm not going to get involved in the story, but I said, how can a person who professes to love God, love Christ and be born again do this to you? You know, what this individual did. And he said, it's the time of betrayal, you know.
Yeah, and look what Peter did to Jesus.
They're very true.
I mean,
yeah.
And I'm sure y'all, I have been hurt most by people who say they are who really are Christ-like, but also I've been loved the most by people who love Christ. And I just pray that I don't ever do that myself, just totally crush a Christian. But it's only God's grace if I hadn't.
Well, you know, Lucy, sometimes people are wolves in the sheep's clothing, and they'll come and.
Oh yes. Yes.
And we've actually fell victim, and I can't. It's hard to believe sometimes. Okay, that the nicest people and to me the most Christian people have.
Yes.
They open but people like Steve Quayle opens his heart up to someone and gets just annihilated by this person.
Butchered.
Yeah. Why? What's the?
Yes.
You know. And
it's the scoffers, the mockers, the deniers. It's the people filled with the demonic, with the hate, with the evil, not being able to vent their frustration at anything else besides what is good.
Yeah.
It is coming into fruition, into full force. And we haven't seen the beginnings of how bad it really will be yet. And this is nothing compared to what will happen.
This is light, but it is really terrible out here. It is terrible. And we have to, like we talked about the last time I called, put on that armor.
Yes.
And trust in the Lord and realize that right there, our dearest friend in Christ could turn on us any second. And we just got to stay close to Jesus. And I'm just so thankful for you two men. I just can't tell you.
We just
praise the Lord.
Well, thank you, Lucy. And I'll tell you what, we just hope we don't let you down ever, because it certainly would not be because we're vicious. It would be because we made a mistake or something happened, whatever. But it's our goal to be here to help, to provide news, provide our analysis on it.
And y'all are doing great, and I love the new website. I love it.
Are you watching on the video?
Well, not now because I'm just walking in the door, but I went on it today, and I thought, wow.
Which website are you referring to, ma'am?
The new. Well, I logged in and put it on my computer. It doesn't end in Homeland Security.
It's the Christians United.
Yes.
Now that's just for the show. That's just for the show.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just for the video for the show, and it provides you with a venue to chat and what have you.
Yes.
And we can thank Troy from Christians United Broadcasting Network for that. Thanks, Troy. You're a great guy.
Absolutely. I mean, this man is putting so much work into helping spread the message. He's not asking for anything in return. And, it's very, very selfless and honorable.
And hence the word united.
Yeah.
Because we're united in Christ. But
yes, united in Christ as we march on.
We have to. I'll tell you, we have to. As much as we want to quit sometimes, we have to. But
Yes.
Thank you, Lucy, for that.
All right, man. Thank you.
God bless you, and have a great night.
Thanks,
Lucy.
Yeah, that Iranian situation is something we have to watch. I know Ahmadinejad's been, saying stuff before, but
we're going to go to another call, area code 702. Then we're going to go to Phil Paul. I'm sorry, right after that. So first off, area code 702. You're on live with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
How are you?
Pretty good. Say, I'm real excited. I called before, and I'm real excited every time you have Steve Quayle on. I was wondering if you was going to have him on again, and if you had any response about that Daniel's timeline.
Okay, now we had him on, the day before yesterday. You know that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty good. But,
okay.
But I feel like you didn't really get to say a lot because, he was sharing it with Mr. Evison.
Yeah, but 4 people on the show, it's kind of hard to... to get a lot out of there. But
yeah, he's going to come on again. We talked to him today.
Yeah, he'll call us up and say, when he's ready, when he feels the urge from the Lord, he'll call us up and says, the Lord's telling me it's time to do a show, and we can't predict those times, but we know he'll be doing them.
And I think it's going to be a pretty much a weekly occurrence, though. He has cut out all radio appearances, I think, with the exception of maybe Coast to Coast once in a while, and then our show on a regular basis. So that's it. Yeah.
Have any of you all been able to check out that site? And because I'm really curious, what everybody's opinion on that is. To me, it seems like it's dead on, but I'm not that sharp as maybe you guys are, and Mr. Quayle.
Well, I
don't know if Steve has checked it out. I've looked at this site before.
Right.
And we got, I don't know, maybe 14 minutes before the break, we got a full bank of callers. I think we're going to have to, maybe do a whole segment on the book of Daniel. And this leads us into another area I wanted to get into is maybe once a week doing, part of a show, an hour of a show on a particular book in the Bible. Going through, brainstorming, talking about the scriptures and getting into it. But that aside,
but even as it relates to current events, and I think that Daniel's timeline is.
In Daniel's timeline, Caller, what about this? The timeline are you referring to? Because I know there's a 1260 days. It talks about the time of the end of the world. It gets into the Egypt and Libya being overthrown, and there's so much in the book of Daniel.
But on this website, what in particular strikes you as being important that we should look at, or that people should look at on Daniel's timeline?
Well, on the website, which also has a video, the guy's talking about how we're actually already in the tribulation, and he explains it how that there's 7,000 years, and how in 2000. I believe it's 2016 or 17. He said is when we're going to be in a 1,000-year reign with Christ, and
right.
That's when but we're like already we're right in the tribulation. And he's saying that it's all going to be over, according to his calculations, in 2016. But and he goes into detail saying it's that no man knows the day or the hour is not exactly what they meant. They meant that during some times of the calendar, you don't know what day or hour it is because the way the moon's not showing.
I see. Okay.
And I've never heard that interpretation before, but definitely I would agree that no man knows the day nor the hour, not even the Son, it says. Only the Father knows. But as far as discerning the seasons and the time of the end, the time of the tribulation, that is something we'll have to get more into because people do think we are in the tribulation.
Yeah.
For one, I don't. I don't think it's bad enough yet. I don't think, and I know the first part of the tribulation isn't terrible. Or I could be wrong, the first part of the tribulation is terrible and it's cut short because of that. But there is a period of peace in there, or perceived peace. But as far as, no man knows the day or the hour, I say we are to look for the signs that the Lord said he will show us, the signs in the heaven, in the sky, in the sun, the signs on the earth, which have been occurring, the earthquakes, the animal deaths, the natural disasters.
Right.
We need to stay in prayer and really discuss the timelines with the Lord, because all we can do is speculate. We don't have the Lord's whole blueprint in front of us. We have what he has given us in the Bible and in our spirits. And each one of us, it's different for each one of us. So, how one person interprets Scripture is different from how another person interprets Scripture, etc.
Right.
So, how would you guys recommend on what a person should do? Because, like Mr. Quayle was saying, that they're going to come after everybody, and you don't want to be where they know you're going to be. But where do you go, especially if you got like a storehouse of food and you try to get the silver and all that?
Well, yeah, and I talked to Steve about that. I said, that in fact, again after the program, I said, you had mentioned this. You don't want to be where they're coming after you. I asked him. I said, Steve, do you really, did you mean to say that in that fashion? He said, well, there's a couple of schools of thought. He said, if they know if they have you on their radar, And I think he was talking more about the people like us that are out there, like him that are out there, that are public, that are, more so than just the average person that's going about their business. That's what I believe. So, what does he recommend? I can't speak for him, but I can tell you what we recommend is follow your heart. But I don't think, honestly, caller, I don't believe you can run. You can run. You can go. You can move, but you're still. It's going to be a fruitless endeavor. In other words, I'm of the opinion, stay where you're at.
Right, you can't hide anyway. So.
Yeah, you go where the Lord calls you, and when the time comes to where it is dangerous enough to where you don't know if you should stay in your own house, you listen to the Lord, and that's the only one that you should listen to. And if your relationship with the Lord is sound and is right, He will not leave you astray. He will tell you, where to go. He will tell you exactly when to go and how to do it.
But I think too, you have to use your own mental acuity and judgment, and understanding as well, caller.
That's why I talk to my wife and I tell her that, because she's always saying, "What do we do?" I said, "We got to wait for the word of the Lord, see what He tells us."
And that's the best answer. And because look, we have people that constantly ask us the very same question, and to be honest with you, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell people except what you just said. We have to. You have to use both your spiritual discernment and your intellectual acuity and discernment, and watch what's going on around you. But I think, go ahead, caller.
Can I ask one other question?
Sure.
Have you heard any more about, because I know Mr. Quayle's always talking about giants and that they're still around.
Yeah.
Do you think we're going to see those in the States as a form of like to try to control the people? Because my brother, who, God rest his soul, he passed away. Before I ever heard of Mr. Quayle, he used to have dreams and visions of stuff like that. And I'm wondering if, maybe God gave him some insight before he passed away.
Wow. That's something I really don't know. I've got the book, in fact, right behind me about giants that Steve wrote. Honestly, I don't know that. What I can do, callers, is I'll email Steve after the show and ask him what his thoughts are on that, and if he would come on and answer that question for us, because that's an interesting thing. I don't know. I don't know, but I will ask him. Is that okay? Yeah, because
that's great.
All right. I will do that. All right, caller.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
Okay.
No, that's it. But I'd like to say, if it wasn't for Mr. Quayle, I probably wouldn't be so on fire for the Lord again. For a while I was really down, and then, like I said, after my brother passed away, and I listened to Mr. Quayle, and it reminded me of what my brother used to tell me, and I was like, wow, it must be, from God to really get back onto it.
Well, amen, and God bless your restoration and reuniting with the Lord, and we hope you continue that, and God bless you, and thank you for calling.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry for the loss of your brother, too. Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because, just real quick, because I know we
got about 6 minutes before the break, and I want to take another call.
Let's take a call. I'll share this after the...
All right, we're going to go to Paul. Paul, you are online with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Go ahead,
Hello.
Paul. Hi, Paul.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, usually say 440. You kind of threw me off there. How you doing?
We know you now. Great.
Yeah, I guess.
we got your number, sir.
Yeah, okay. Basically, I wanted to say hi. I've been trying to get a hold of you now for a week, believe it or not,
You mean...
But you guys, you've been busy, and, I haven't been able to get through, and so not a problem, but basically what I wanted to... Yeah, it's okay. I'm a good listener. As long as I can keep my eyes open, But,
if we put you to sleep, we're sorry.
No, it's not about... I could say that, I guess, just for the hell of it, but... Anyway, I wanted to comment on last Friday's show with the guy you had on from Realist News.
Monday.
And, was that Monday?
Yeah, it was Monday.
It's been that long. I thought it was Friday.
Yeah, it was Yeah, it was Monday.
Now, don't confuse us, Paul.
Because we had Mr. Quayle on the next day after that.
Right. That was Monday that we had him on.
All right, okay. All right, I'm getting old.
Yeah, us too. Or me too.
But, yeah. Anyhow, he was spot on. Now, there's very few people that I have listened to that have talked with with subjects that I am familiar with myself. And I kind of tuned in a little bit late to begin with, and I missed his opener, and I never did get a chance to get back and listen to the rebroadcast on that. But I didn't miss him by much, and I sat here, and I'll tell you, it was like he was. It's like he was reading a book out of my head, because I know these things, and I kind of felt that last question that you'd asked him, like, it's more or less like, well, wrap this up, I forgot exactly what you said, Doug, but you asked him, well, how does this all conclude, and I kind of think, now I don't know for sure, but I kind of think he sidestepped that one a little bit, because the correct answer, the bottom line, what are they after? What is their goal? What is their, is kind of surreal. And it's I'll give it to the best of my knowledge, and what it amounts to, it doesn't have to do with money. Money is paper. They're the ones that make the money. They print it. Money to them is it's irrelevant. It's like dust.
Right. They refer to it as fiat. It's worthless.
Yeah. The other thing is wealth. Now, they're not really concerned about, well, they are, because they hold, let's say, I wouldn't give it a percentage, but I'd say it's well up there,
Yeah, it's the
wealth that they own far outweighs anything that we have as individuals in home and property and, what we consider wealth. To them, wealth is wealth.
Right.
They've already got it, though. They've made it. They're there. What they're after, basically speaking, is our souls. This is the goal. Mm-hmm. When you can strip somebody of everything they have, as far as, all right, you take their money and you take their wealth, which our wealth is, it's real property. It's our homes. It's our businesses. It's our livelihood.
Yeah, you hit it. You hit right on the money. They are in the business of harvesting our souls, and that is the most important statement of the night, I think.
Thank you. But that is the goal right there, and it's actually global slavery. And when you connect all the dots on this, you look at Agenda 21, and you look at everything that's happening, and you ask yourself, even down to people that, let's say somebody's got a few acres of property and their local city just goes ahead and takes it, and it's happened already up here in Medina, Ohio, one case I know of anyway. And at any rate, when you look at the extent with which they're doing this, and it's almost like they're nitpicking, and you ask yourself why. And the only conclusion, when you look at the whole scope of things, Rothschild once made a statement, give me control of a nation's wealth and let me print their money, and I care not who runs it politically. He doesn't, this is a broad statement he made over 200 years ago, and it still holds today. See, all of this stuff is extremely pertinent. Now, if I may, I'll try to shoot this one really quick here and hope I can make sense out of it.
Yeah, because we got about a minute and a half here, caller. Sorry about that.
Okay, all right. The protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, which we already talked about, is a farce. It was done on purpose to try to throw light off of the protocols of the synagogue of Satan, which are real. Now, when you read that set of protocols, and you've got the original language on there, it is almost like reading today's playbook.
Right.
And they're following this. They're following it methodically, you know. And this is the real power behind the scenes. This is what that fellow was talking about. But he knows exactly. I mean, he did not miss a word, I swear. And I was sitting here in disbelief. And I wanted to call so bad, but it was so close to the end of the show, I know I wouldn't get through, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing was on Vern. He made I'll make this real fast. Vern made a comment about the inavailability of Agenda 21 material.
Oh,
Go to my website. You can download all this stuff. Now, I've got a whole new section on the server that I added, which is dedicated to books.
Okay, what's your website, caller? And I know this.
Okay, yeah, I'd rather do it that way because every time I mention it, I end up with a couple of days' worth of flack. Doug knows what it is. Yeah, you can mention it from time to time, but I don't want to push it out there too much. But there's a whole section on books. It's called. We just go right below where my picture is, and it says private collection, and you click on that, and that'll take you to the new server. And it's actually got everything dumped in there. It's all raw file. There's nothing fancy.
Yeah, it's been there, and I'll tell you what, it's all good material. We gotta get cut to a break.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Hey, good talking to you.
Nice talking to you as well, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks,
yeah,
Paul.
you got to read some of my emails I sent you.
I have, by the way. But
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these short messages. You're listening to the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. Stay with us.
Hi, folks. Doug Hagmann here. You might know me as the co-host from the Hagmann and Hagmann Report, or as a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. If you're like me, you're tired and confused over today's headlines. You just don't know where to turn for accurate, concise information about really what's going on, what's truly going on in today's society. If you don't know where to turn for accurate, well-researched, and properly vetted news, I've got a suggestion. In fact, it's a requirement. Bookmark Canada Free Press. That's CanadaFreePress.com on the Internet. It's just not for Canada. It's for news across the world. Judy McLeod, founding editor, has put together a vast array of talented writers like Kelly O'Connell, Daniel Greenfield, Dr. Eileen Johnson-Powell, a lot of guest columnists, very talented writers. Folks, that's Canada Free Press at CanadaFreePress.com. Now mobile friendly. Follow on Facebook, because without America, there is no free world.
Survival of the fittest. In any and all situations, survival is your number one priority. That requires being tough and thinking smart. And the folks at Freeze Dry Guy are going to help you do just that. They have the long-range patrol ration entrees, what they call the Brick Pack. When you're in survival mode, it is absolutely the best item for your survival pack or bug-out bag. You can go farther, faster, and carry more food with the LRP cold weather ration entrees. Not only do these long-lasting, durable entrees help sustain you or your family through the harshest environment or situation, they are by far the most delicious of their kind. No contest. With a variety of tasty entrees, you can't beat the LRP Brick Packs. Let Freeze Dry Guy help you in your survival situations. Go to freezedryguy.com. That's freezedryguy.com. Or call 866-404-3663. That's 866-404-FOOD.
If you're stumped, you don't know what kind of gift to give to a friend or a loved one, I'm telling you, you must go to 4physics.com. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. This is your one-stop shopping palace. That's the only way I can put it. I could spend easily an hour on this website. Innovative, fun, educational. There are games, books, weather instruments, unique time-telling devices, jewelry, optical devices, laboratory equipment. Let me give you an example. We all know we can tell time with a sundial. You've seen those advertised. Did you know that you could tell time by the stars? At 4physics.com, You can buy a horologium nocturnum. This was a navigational device used in the 15th century by navigators at night to tell time by the stars. It's beautifully crafted in the shape of a pendant made of bronze and pewter or gold and silver. Absolutely a stunning gift. I would be proud to give it to anyone. You must go to 4physics.com. Even if you're not stumped, that's 4physics. That's the numeral 4, PHYSICS.com. It's your one-stop shopping palace. Any problems that you have, I don't know what to get Grandpa, I don't know what to get my loved one, that's unique, you will find it at 4physics.com. Please take my word for it. Go to the website, but give yourself a lot of time because you're not going to want to leave. 4physics.com.
You better wake up fast and listen to this, America. The Obama campaign has launched attack squads disguised as truth teams dedicated to intimidating and silencing all political dissent carried over the internet that criticizes the Marxist Obama. Truth squads specifically focused on covering up Obama's endless trail of lies, corruption, and subversion, and using the Gestapo power of our own government to police and censor the internet and shut down websites that dare to carry the real truth about Obama's Marxist coup. Remember the names of these Gestapo-style agencies at work right there in your neighborhood. KeepingHisWord.com, KeepingGOPHonest.com, and AttackWatch.com. KGB, SS, and Gestapo-style police-state gangster organizations at work to silence the important voices of patriot dissent, some of which have already been shut down by Obama's orders. Adolf Hitler would have been proud. We're the 21st century Tea Party patriots.
Doug Hagmann. One guy that doesn't need a bullhorn to get your attention.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to hour number 2 of this Thursday, August 2nd edition of the Hagmann and Hagmann Report. My name is Joe Hagmann. My co-host is Doug Hagmann. Present. We are the premier father and son radio and now video streaming show on the internet, fastest growing and the best audience in the world. And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. We are going to play a clip for you. Now, on this video, you guys on Blog Talk will hear the audio. This video is a FEMA training police on what to look for with terrorism. Now, it talks about the Founding Fathers being terrorists, and this is the main part of the video.
And I'm sure a lot of you have heard this.
But in the beginning, in like the first 10 seconds, you have to listen to the audio, because it talks about Christians, and they say what Christians are going to do if you don't convert and choose Jesus as your Savior. This is very important.
And this is from 2001. This is a training session that occurred in July of 2001. Okay, so anytime, Troy, go ahead and cue up the video.
You're damn right, because think about the Christians, okay? Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? No. What did they do? They took your head off. They beheaded you if you didn't accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. See, this is reality. Yeah, they're terrorists, but the bottom line is to them, they are not. Now, why is that important to understand? Because they are as committed to their cause and to their way of life as you are yours. And they see you as being wrong. That's very different. When people are passionate about what they believe in, they become a very difficult enemy to beat. Who was the first terrorist organization in the United States? Who? Founding Fathers. Founding Fathers. You mean Thomas Jefferson? Oh, yes. You mean George Washington? Oh, yes. Paul Revere? Yes. These guys right here, let me ask you something. Did they try to scare people? Oh, yes. They tried to intimidate the British. Did they use acts of violence? Your founding fathers, my founding fathers, were involved in acts of terrorism against British officials because they systematically had British officials assassinated. The guys who we call our founding fathers, George Washington, Mr. Honest, who cut down a cherry tree and admitted it, is the same guy who signed death orders, if you will, on members of the British government, the British Crown, who they wanted to eliminate because politically they had influence in certain pockets of the United States, at that time the 13 colonies, and they wanted to divide and conquer.
They may get a whole lot of civilians, and hey, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? If they killed 10,000 civilians tomorrow with a biological agent, that's too bad for them.
And there you have it. Our founding fathers are terrorists. The first terrorist organization being George Washington and his gang of Al-Qaeda thugs overthrowing British royalty. You know, I mean, what a ridiculous statement to make. I know the video's old. I know many of you have seen it and heard it many times. It was in one of the Alex Jones films, I think Road to Tyranny. I think that's where it broke. It was in one of the documentaries. But to think, I mean, this was from July 21st of 2001. They were teaching police that the founding fathers were terrorists. They were teaching that the Christians, if you did not convert to Jesus Christ, that they will behead you, saying that this is real. They're serious about this. I mean, this is the government teaching the police that Christians will behead you if you do not accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and that the first terrorists were the founding fathers.
You know,
how twisted is that? These people were protected. They took an oath. They got their job is to uphold the oath, the Constitution that were written by those same people they call terrorists. So if they really believe they're terrorists, are they going to uphold that oath?
You know, as many times as I watched that video, I did not hear that first part about the Christians and beheading others. And I got to tell you, that took me by surprise when I heard it today. So that's why we wanted you to pay attention to the first, and it might have been hard to hear because that was like a second or third generation copy. But wow, you know, folks, I'll tell you what, it's real. This is real. And it's my understanding from my intelligence source that they are talking now about Christians being the enemy. Okay?
Yeah.
Not about, now this is important too. According to the information I've gotten, again, or most recently, they're talking about, the Department of Homeland Security are talking about the pro-lifers.
Yeah, and I had the reports, I mean, from 2009. Well, pro-lifers, constitutionalists, patriots, people who are irreverent of individual liberty, people who are afraid of federal centralized power.
But okay, now, but where my source was taking this was, now I had, and I'll tell you this, I had a conversation with my source this week from the DHS insider, we'll call them, who said that right now what they're looking at, they're looking at a couple of things. They're looking at the conventions coming up. That's their most immediate focus, is the conventions. Do you realize that the Department of Homeland Security, for the first time, is going to take over the security of the RNC and the DNC? The conventions, the first time. They're going to supplant the police and take over the security. It used to be local, state police, and then, if necessary, the National Guard of the state. Not this time. It's the Department of Homeland Security and the story. And if they need to, they'll bring in the military. Okay, that's the talk. The second thing, by the way, is the assault on Christians, or the war on Christians. If you don't think that this Chick-fil-A incident hasn't been talked about at the highest levels of DHS, it has.
Did you hear what they? Oh, it's on the front of the Drudge now. The gay community they held a kiss-in, going to the Chick-fil-A's today to kiss while in the restaurant.
It's out of control.
You know, these people. And when I say these people, I mean these homosexual activists want to be treated as regulars, wanted to be treated like everybody else, right? This is their goal. You know, they want the same rights. They want equality, but they want to be completely different. I mean, they say, do not, throw your ideology down our throats and make us accept your beliefs.
But we're going to do
yeah, exactly. They're hypocrites. It's disgusting. I don't hate gay people. I hate the sin. I wish they were not gay. I wish they would turn to the Lord and find that, it's stated he is against that. It is a personal sin. It's an issue people have. We are sinners in our own ways. All of us are.
We're all sinners.
But we need to be repentant for those sins, and we need to work to change those.
Yes.
And to see the displays. I mean, you can get arrested for passing out Christian literature at a gay pride parade, but these gay people who want to wear rainbow, wigs and are going to go into places of business and, disrupt the business by holding gay kiss-ins. I mean, that's reprehensible. To even think that if I was a manager at one of these Chick-fil-A's and people started doing this in the restaurant, I would either make them order food or I'd kick them out and call the police if they didn't leave. I'd make them order food
look,
first.
Even heterosexual, look, a public display of affection in a restaurant is inappropriate to the extent that they're talking about. So, I mean, you've got a disorderly conduct issue there. The intolerance of those pushing the tolerance issue is just, it's incredible. The hypocrisy, as you mentioned, is just incredible.
Yeah, it's disgusting. They want, like you said, the equality, but they're the hypocrites. They expect everybody else to accept their way of living. And let me tell you, I like how Steve Quayle says it, and I'm sure he got it, from somebody else before him. It was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And people need to understand that even aside from the sin of homosexuality, what does it do to help humanity? Can two men or two women being together make a human? Does that coincide with nature, even if you don't believe in God?
Well, sex is
it's against nature. It's against God, even if you don't believe in God. Most people turn to their own spiritual or natural laws. What God are you worshiping? And there are gays who are Christians out there, which I understand that, and I don't. I'd rather see that than those that are not out there, because maybe those people who are homosexuals who feel they have a connection to the Lord have that connection for a reason, to be used at a time when it is needed, where they will break away from their sinful nature, before it's too late to help, the Christians. Okay. Maybe that's why they're there. But that confuses me. Another thing that confuses me, why do they want to be married under a lot of the homosexuals, not Christian, want to be married? Marriage is a sacrament taken, an oath with you, your partner, under the Lord. So if you don't believe in the Lord, if the Lord doesn't allow two men to marry, how can you think, and then they push it on the churches, that the churches are going to get sued if they don't marry gay couples, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
It's just complete chaos of society, and this has been allowed to happen through the entertainment industry, through the infiltration of the school systems, indoctrinating kids that it is normal, that being homosexual is normal, when it is anything but normal. Even if you look at Darwin's theory of evolution, there's no gays there because we could not evolve.
That's right.
So, this whole thing is just so out of control.
This, again, now you handled the morality and the spirituality of this. What I'm going to address just briefly is the fact that, again, my DHS insider said that don't think that this Chick-fil-A incident has not been, in some ways, actually encouraged at the higher levels of the White House. Okay. The Cass Sunsteins and even the non-existent the faraway Van Jones now. It is a lot of this stuff is being choreographed. They're being told to go out, and you might think, well, that's a little bit crazy. Why would they even bother with this at that level? It's minutia, but no, it's not. It is, again, you're sowing discord, and it's a purpose. It's got a purpose to it, and the purpose is to pit man against one segment of our society against the other, and that's how anything to exploit and revolutionary style is what we're talking about. So,
and I wanted to get into this right before I got to the studio today. I was following a car, And I am perplexed about what I saw on the back of this car as I am, as Michael Savage is on the Second Amendment and the reason we have a Second Amendment in America. I saw a car today. On the back, on the top of the windshield, was a United States Marine Corps sticker. Underneath that was a Obama 2012 sticker. It said Obama 12. Underneath that was a Don't Tread on Me flag sticker. Underneath that was a Tea Party supporter or Tea Party member sticker.
Were they going to the drugstore for their schizophrenia?
Yeah, and I just thought of this now that you mentioned that. Maybe it's a shared car between a husband and wife, and they both want to share their
either that or
beliefs.
maybe it's a statement.
I mean, I couldn't get my phone out fast enough to take a picture of it, but man, I mean, you talk about confusing. But we never did get to play this clip. We're going to play this clip of Michael Savage talking about gun control. I'm going to start it now and let it play for a little bit because he doesn't get into the important gun control issues until
this is just
a minute or so in. Yeah, but it's an audio clip where he talks about the Second Amendment. Why do you need a 100-round drum? Why do people need to buy body armor? Body armor is for the military. What do you need a 100-round drum to hunt for? What do you need a 100-round drum to hunt a little duck for? What are you going to do with those 100 bullets? I'll turn the audio up here. We got about 3 minutes left in this clip. He's babbling about something, and then he gets into the gun control, so bear with us.
And this is Michael Savage.
Truthfully, he gave a very polite speech. I guess it's all a president could do. I thought Romney's reaction was more spiritually moving.
This is
and
on
we'll
the
play
Aurora.
both of those for
Aurora
you.
Shooting.
But truthfully, in my heart of hearts, I believe the president should have called Warner Brothers and said, we're pulling the movie temporarily until we get on top of this. And Warner Brothers should have complied. But you know they can't do it because they put him in office. That's all. He's like an actor on Warner Brothers stage. Obama is like an actor on Warner Brothers stage. You can have an actor tell the producer what to do? So that's why you're not going to get that kind of a response from government. What are you going to do here? There's plenty of blame to go around. At the end of the day, the kids are dead, maimed, wounded for life. The other ones are going to be frightened for the rest of their lives. And the only people who are not going to ever answer for this crime are the violence dealers, the violence peddlers.
I agree with that.
Those who I have said have created the sewer pipe that runs out of Hollywood into everyone's brain. I'll be right back.
I don't agree with what he comes back with.
Yeah, this is an interesting... how he comes back.
Okay, the gunman was very heavily armed. I am a gun owner. I have supported the NRA, but let me tell you something. Whether you like me after this or not, I really don't care. Common sense would dictate that there should not be drum magazines for sale to the public.
Just common sense.
Period. End of story. Why was this idiot allowed to go buy a drum magazine for a 223 rifle, an AR-15 convert? I don't know what the AR-15 was. I once owned an AR-15, but they became illegal in California with a certain stock. I got rid of it. I own a Ruger Mini 14, which shoots a 223. They're wonderful weapons, but I don't have a drum magazine. What do I need a drum magazine for? Where in the world is it written that an average citizen should be able to buy a drum magazine that holds 100 rounds of ammunition? That is a military drum. It's for military use only. Now, I know many of you say, in case the government, we're going to fight the government. Please, I don't want to hear that anymore.
Yeah, no common sense, I guess.
I want to talk about rationality here.
Why not?
Why was this jerk allowed to go buy a drum magazine for a 223? Can anyone justify that?
That's a valid question, though.
Take me on this. I don't care what you write on your blogs about me after this. It makes no difference. I'm used to being misunderstood or attacked by everybody, so it doesn't matter to me. I may as well just speak my mind as I do every day. Yeah, I mean, the corn is real high right now in my life. The corn is real high. And so at this point near harvest, I don't give a damn what you think about me. I am telling you that man had no right, and the country has no right, rather, to permit any single individual, not a member of police force, to buy a drum magazine. What in the world is this all about? That's what I have to say.
Well,
there you have it.
Sadly, what you have to say in your theory of, don't give me that, let's talk rationale. Your rationale is off, Michael Savage, because exactly what you mentioned and discredited as a garbage excuse for having the 100-round drum magazine is the exact reason we need it, to protect against tyrannical governments that when they become destructive, through their means, that we have not only the right but the duty to overthrow them. And I'm not saying by violent means. No. I'm saying that if they come to take our land, to take our property, to take our families, to kill us, we have the right to defend and protect ourselves.
Hold on a second.
We are allowed to have
the devil's advocate here, then. Okay.
Technically, we should be allowed to buy tanks, helicopters, drones. That's where I was going. Yes, we should be allowed to buy all and any military. I mean, they created the nuclear, capabilities.
So we probably should have taken a shed or what?
Obviously, that's a question that doesn't need to be answered. I'll just say no. Nuclear power should just be harnessed for the ability to make electricity, not to make bombs that can destroy the whole Earth.
Well,
in my opinion,
I do agree with that.
But as far as having, the founding fathers, when they were around, there wasn't all these different, calibers and differentials between weaponry. I mean, they had different kind of muskets and swords, but it wasn't a handgun versus a tank and full body armor. But yes, American people should have the ability to buy body armor. The American people should have the ability to buy as many bullet-carrying clips as they want. I don't see the problem here. The problem is
if you're sane, okay?
If you're not, yes. Well, that's what I was getting to. As long as you are an American citizen who has not committed a violent act in your life, and you're not mentally considered to be a danger to yourself or others, you should be allowed to own a gun, no questions asked. And there should be no limit on how many bullets you should have in a clip or how many bullets should be able to be fired from this gun. I mean, they're doing these incremental bans. We're going to ban the assault rifle. We're going to ban the semi-automatic. Now we should only own a single musket ball bolt, rifle. Back when they were the founding fathers, what they had. I mean, that's ridiculous. Look at the third world countries, and look at the countries that have been overthrown and have been systematically murdered by their governments. What'd they do? They gave over their means of self-defense. Then the government comes in with the means that they took from the people and uses it to take them out. So why are we going to allow the Department of Homeland Security to stock up on 450 million rounds? Michael Savage, you tell me why the DHS needs 450 million rounds of illegal ammunition, illegal under the Geneva Convention, and why a non-governmental police agency like the DHS needs that, yet I am not entitled to have a 100-round magazine in my gun.
Well, they are a governmental police agency, but that's all right.
No, they're not. Well, technically you could say that, but technically you can say Obama runs the country. Technically you could say, the economy's fine.
But I'm glad it was your rant today, not mine, because I agree with you, and I think Michael Savage is.
And I'm not attacking him. I'm attacking what he's saying, because he is like a Glenn Beck in a way. 95% of the truth,
that's a little bit of
5% of the garbage that comes with it. And maybe it's from being old and bitter and in this industry too long. Maybe it's from seeing all this.
He's bitter, all right.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasons are. I'm not trying to personally attack the guy. But what is your thought process? The government is more dangerous now than they've ever been. The government is making preparations to attack us, to take everything we own. Why shouldn't we have 500 round drum clips? We should be passing them out like candy to get ready for what's coming to us.
According to the information I got today, it's interesting because the price of rifles and long guns have gone up, the price of ammunition has gone up, and it's because of supply and demand. And isn't it interesting that again, you're seeing an increase in the price of weapons,
and that's okay. If we have to have an increase, as long as they're still available. But I don't mind paying a little bit of extra money.
But see, that's because more people are buying them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And the demand's there, and so what does that tell you? There's this undercurrent in this country that people know. People can feel it in here. Folks? Let me ask you: can you feel it in here that something's wrong?
Obviously, most people can. You probably wouldn't be listening to the show. And I think everybody should have a gun. Everybody should own a gun. And hopefully, you never have to use it. But there's a good saying. It's better to have a gun and not need it than to not have a gun and need it.
And let me top that saying with this. It's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission sometimes, okay? Look, if you're in a situation where you've got to protect your family, and
right,
yeah,
we have guns. I have guns, and they're kept away. Hopefully, I never need to take them out unless I want to go target shooting or hunting or whatever.
Let's hope that's the case.
If there was ever a fateful, dreadful day where they needed to be used for self-defense, I wouldn't be happy. It wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be. I mean, people. And this is a part of the disconnect. The younger generation, the video game generation, the drone generation that kill with the push of a button. These people don't. Who are not connected spiritually, who have been indoctrinated by the culture of violence and the video games that they play, don't have a connection between death and real human life and what the value that there is there in human life.
That's right.
It's we see the sociopaths that kill kittens, and that's how they start. Slaughtering animals. They move on to serial killers, and it's just amazing to me that to see Michael Savage, a leading voice in the constitutional movement, we'll say, in the patriot movement. And he's done so by stating the truth, by stating, how he feels, calling it like he sees it. But did you get pressured? Why are you coming out and saying we don't have the right to have 100-round drums or body armor? Why shouldn't we have the right? We have every right as they do, as much right as they do. The military isn't any more special than we are as citizens of America, except they are serving, America.
That's right.
Just like we would if we were called to do so. But we are still citizens of America with a duty to protect America, and in order to do that, we must have the tools necessary. If we were invaded by Canada tomorrow, would you say, I guess we should have gave out, or, let them sell 100-round drums? You know what I mean? It's like
that's ridiculous. Look.
I know I'm rambling and going on and on.
No,
I'm sorry.
Glenn Beck. Okay, you look at people like if you start on like Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity, they're all politics. Glenn Beck is trying, supposedly trying to give the truth. Michael Savage is conservative. None of them wrap it up in spirituality, or when I say spirituality, I'm talking about Christian spirituality. None of them talk, to my knowledge. I've heard none of, Glenn Beck to some extent, but not to the extent that we do. But this is all, so, and I do think, in Savage's case, in this case, I really believe that there's something wrong here. I think that there's this, all of a sudden, there's this mindset to go centrist. And I want to quote something here. Folks, on July 19th of this year, a gentleman, and I don't know whether you know this man, Joel Gilbert at the National Press Club, kind of put people on their ear, and I thought it was fantastic. If you don't know who Joel Gilbert is, ladies and gentlemen, he is a man he's an author who wrote Dreams from My Real Father. Barack Obama does have a disturbing family background, a deeply disturbing family background, and in which he intentionally hid in order to obscure a Marxist political foundation. And according to Mr. Gilbert, and I thought this was just brilliantly posed, he kind of, at the press club speech, and it's available online, you can go for the video, but at age 18, Barack Obama admittedly arrived at Occidental College, a committed revolutionary Marxist, okay? This is based on his own accounts. There can be no doubt that Frank Marshall Davis counseled him. Frank Marshall Davis, a Communist Party USA propagandist and former Soviet agent, indoctrinated Obama into this. Now, Joel Gilbert gets into something, and I just thought was brilliant, okay? He in his speech, and I'm not going to go through his whole speech. I just want to quote him here. He gets into something, and I'm writing an article on this too. I accuse all major television networks and most cable news networks of gross violations of the journalist creed. And folks, if you don't know what the journalist creed is, it's something any journalists go through, like myself, any writers. We adhere to the journalist creed. Anyway, I accuse ABC, NBC, CBS, network news divisions of violating the public, the public trust by refusing to cover up my documentary film, and which there's a whole big deal behind that. But what?
Well, he goes on to say, I accuse MSNBC of intentional and often vile campaign of lies and misrepresentations to protect Barack Obama's false narrative. I accuse Newsmax.com of censorship, but I wanted to see, does he get into Fox? Because I want to say,
just hang on a minute.
I am accusing Fox News of helping to get Obama reelected. And I agree with that. Just from what I see on my phone app, I don't have cable. I haven't watched the news station in 3 or 4 months. But what I see on Fox and what I see on the video clips I watch and news I read through, they're not doing much to really stop Obama from getting reelected.
No, but he does say he accuses Newsmax of going of censorship because he paid him $4,350 in advance, ostensibly for an advertising campaign. He pulled it.
They give him the money back?
I don't know, but he asked Newsmax why, and he said it's because they wanted to move to the center, whatever that means. Of course, we know what that means. and he goes on to say that I accuse all leftist website-based news organizations of international bias.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes,
I understand the significance of who's his father, who's his real father, etc. But does it matter? I mean, is it the difference between a communist and a Nazi? I mean,
No, it does matter. It matters because he goes on. He's saying that, wow, that was a little, I don't know if you heard that in your headphones or not. I accuse all the mainstream media, print media, like the Washington Post and the New York Times, Newsweek, Time Magazine, and all of their ilk of intentionally suppressing the truth about Barack Obama's history and agenda and refusal to cover my findings. See, his findings, this is what's important, his findings talk about Obama's agenda and what he's trying to do to this country and what he's doing to this country. That's what it's all about. It's about allegiance. And his message is report the truth. Now, don't suppress the truth. It's important to this country. America needs a truthful press, unafraid. We don't have it. America is worth it. But no one's willing to step up to the plate. And what is the truth, according to Joel Gilbert? And this is what it all comes down to. The evidence points to Barack Obama building his political career on a fairy tale. It's all a false narrative. There's no Obama family. Really, he's not the son of a Kenyan goat herder.
What about the video that came out with his brother from Kenya doing a documentary about him?
Well, I want to reserve comment on that until I see the actual video. I have not.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you saw that, but they say they assert Frank Marshall Davis is his father. And Dunham is his mother, and Dunham has connections to the CIA.
This is the important part right there. The Communist Party USA attachment here.
Right. But I mean, what's the difference of a puppet being in his minions, aka Barack Obama, and the White House and government being communist, when the elites are all Satanists and those are the ones who control?
Well, okay, in the practical nature of this, Marxism leads to economic ruin, the biological destruction of the populations and societies that haven't employed the Marxist model. I mean, this is what we have. So, look, we've got Barack Obama hiding his background of the history of Marxism. We got Marxists in the White House. We got red diaper babies in the White House.
We got Satanists in the White House.
Yes. So you've got the on one side the spiritual aspect of things, but on the other side the political ideology. But they go hand in hand because I don't believe you can be a Christian and be a communist at the same time.
Right.
So neither do I believe you can be a Muslim and be a person that wants to adhere to the Constitution either. So I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was important and very newsworthy, very topical. But
we're going to hit 2 news pieces and go right to your phone calls for the rest of the show.
We have to hurry.
Article I'm working on, and this title is not permanent, The Hypocrite. We cling to Bibles and guns while he clings to drone killings and illegal use of military force. Obama overthrowing governments for central banks. I'll just read part of my first paragraph. Barack Obama, the foreign ninja magician who amazingly has more than a 5% approval rating, as he follows the banksters' plans of continuing the destabilization of the economic and social fabric of our society. The perfect example of a top-notch con man, this nation has been shredded by the systematic workings of international banking syndicate who controls the money yet remains hidden, leaving the puppet public officials to be the face of the dirty work. How else could we explain Corzine, Jamie Dimon, the Federal Reserve, the Big Six banks with getting away, defrauding billions and even trillions of customers and taxpayer monies with no arrest after committing perjuries, no charges, trials, or even probation, not even a night in jail, or getting slapped around in an interrogation room, not even restitution. These are the perks of being a good puppet for the global banking mafia. And it goes on, but I'm going to get into this article. Drone warfare, a new generation of deadly unmanned weapons. Business is booming at the vast base in Nevada where tomorrow's top guns are learning to target terrorists from afar. You know who those terrorists are?
Yeah, we are. We are the people who are constitutionally inclined, shall we say.
And listen to this. The electronic cavern is dark, save for the glow of consoles, and Lieutenant Mike Wavers surveys his apprentice warriors with satisfaction as they project American might halfway around the world. One crew, 2 young men in flight suits. Why would they wear flight suits if they're sitting in a freaking room controlling a drone like a video game? I don't.
Well, they're playing the role.
Yeah,
they're playing the role.
Preparing to fire missiles from a remotely piloted aircraft at a boatload of suspended insurgents in Afghanistan. Another crew circles a suspicious bulge by a roadside in Iraq and feeds coordinates to ground troops. Other tracks what appears to be a vehicle in Yemen with a "Don't Tread on Me" Tea Party sticker on there. No, just a vehicle in Yemen. There's not a lot of time for emotion here. There's a war going on, and we have a job to do, says Weaver, a veteran F-15 fighter pilot.
It's
anyway,
incredible.
That dovetails with this article that I remember we talked about this many times. The first ever case in the United States where a drone was used against a civilian in an arrest made. He was a sovereign citizen. Some cows wandered onto his property. There's a law amongst farmers that says once, livestock, you don't secure your borders of your farm, and livestock wanders onto other farms 4 or 5 times, you don't have to return the livestock.
Right.
Well, 6 cows wandered onto this guy's property one too many times, and the Army and the government brought out a drone and used it against them. And now the court upholds a domestic drone use in arrest of an American citizen. The North Dakota court has preliminary upheld the first ever use of an unmanned drone to assist in the arrest of an American citizen. A judge denied a request to dismiss charges Wednesday against Robert Borsart, a man arrested last year after a 16-hour standoff with police at his ranch. Borsart's lawyer argued that law enforcement's warrantless use of an unmanned military-like surveillance aircraft and outrageous governmental conduct warranted dismissal of the case, according to the court document.
So there is precedent set now. Now you've got a court in the United States saying that, okay, the government used a drone.
Yeah, and listen to what the judge says. The judge wrote, there was no improper use of an unmanned aerial vehicle, and the drone appears to have had no bearing on these charges being contested here.
Okay,
so the evidence came from the drone that got him the
precedent,
probable cause to go into the house.
That's right. You've got the
and
precedent.
The poisonous fruit. If the reason the way you got your probable cause is unconstitutional, everything you could find 10 dead bodies and 20 tons of cocaine. It's all
a fruit of the poisonous tree doctrine.
It's all inadmissible because the means you obtained it by were fraudulent. With that, we're going to use the rest of our time to go to calls. I know you guys have been patiently waiting on hold.
Gotta get him decaf.
So we're gonna do that. Let me open up my caller ID notebook here.
Yeah,
I've been writing down the phone numbers of people who call, trying to keep track.
If in fact you just want to listen, we'll just say we're just listening, and we'll just move right along here. So
we're gonna go to
just go ahead.
856. I think this might be Shirley. 856. You're on with the Hagmann and Hagmann report.
Hi, it's Sheila.
Oh, Sheila. I'm sorry.
Hi.
Can we call you Shirley instead? don't call me Shirley. No, I'm sorry.
You want? No, you're fine. Just listening to you, unbelievable that we're even having a conversation.
Oh, I know.
With what's going on. I mean, when you've got your last caller called in, and asking you, what do I do if they come after us? Well, I was ready to get up out of bed and head for the gun store and buy all the crap you need to put on to fight them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's so absurd. And that video that you played with the politicians on there talking about our founding fathers. Well, you know what? If they'd have said that in front of our founding fathers, they probably would have used a bayonet on them.
And they would be right in doing so.
That's right, yeah.
Right, exactly. And the crosses, If you stuck one on his forehead, it would probably burn him.
I'm telling you, isn't this something in 2012 that we're talking about this?
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And they're going to try to do everything they can do to squash all this. Newsflash for all of them out there. The people know. Everybody knows.
And let me ask you this, ma'am. Do you feel in your heart, I mean, can you feel it spiritually or intuitively that, man, things are really bad? Can you?
Satan, the spirit of the Antichrist, is doing his work. Just listening to those men in that video, what's that tell you, the mindset?
Well, that was 12 years or 11 years ago. Yes.
Yeah, that's bad. Now that's starting way back then. And you know what? Up until until Barry got in the White House, I didn't hear much of this. Of course, I didn't have a computer then. My kids got me my computer this past Christmas, and I just love it, so I'm getting all my information now. So,
Sheila, you just reminded me of something, and sorry for interrupting. For those of you who can, go back and listen to an interview Rick Wilds did today. And the guy talks about his vision about being shown that God showed him about the World Wide Web and the information. It's an excellent interview.
Yeah, I'll have to go on there and look at that.
It's True News, by the way. TrueNews.com.
To him, everybody's talking about it. Everybody on. It's only everybody on the internet that's doing the talking. The mainstream media is not talking about nothing. And Fox News is the only one I watch, and then I'm getting so that I question them at this point.
Yeah, I would. I mean, not to discourage you, but I would question us. I would question everything with authority, taking it to the Lord, especially things that are troublesome, frustrating, confusing, and important.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me mad.
Well, I think it should.
I mean, this is so wrong, and these what do you want to call them? What did Hitler call them? Useful idiots that's out here listening to you. They want to get you off the air. They want to threaten everybody. Well, I imagine a lot of them are married. They got kids or grandkids. Haven't they thought about what kind of future they're leaving for their own families? I don't get that.
That's a good question, but in their minds, they are part of this government system. They think they will be protected when things go bad. They are the useful idiots, useful eaters, as they refer to us. They are the same, just a tool to be disposed of at a later date.
They think they're going to have a seat at the table.
Right. I mean,
and they're not going to.
Like, we're the nail, they're the hammer, and then the elite is the worker. The police and these people will hammer in the nail, and then the construction worker will throw away the hammer. And, we'll all be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're all in this boat together.
Yeah.
I know I try to be careful about what I read on the internet, because I know there's a lot of stuff out there that's not, that's not true. And I can pretty much tell by, just by the way they word things, and some of the things they say that I just get off the website, I just pretty much stay with you and WND, and I do listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah, Alex. Look, Alex Jones has got a lot of good information.
Yeah, and people ask us about, well, can we trust him? It's not about him at all.
It's about the message.
It's about the information.
Yeah.
And what information, whether you hear it from Alex Jones, Doug or Joe Hagmann, or a goat, you take that information to the Lord, and that's, the most important thing.
Doug was on with Alex Jones. That's how I came across your website, was you was on with him doing an interview.
Oh, yeah.
And I came right to your website. I didn't know you were out there until I saw you on with Alex Jones, and he's something else, man. He gets real angry.
Yeah.
I just sit there and watch him sometimes, and I just laugh. It's so absurd what's going on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm ready to.
Well, Sheila, look, you got to hang in there, and we're going to hang in there together, or we will hang separately. But I have to tell you that I really believe that the shows like this, we're being watched, we're being listened to, we're being monitored. They're going after. And when I say they, I'm talking about the government. Look, I've been told that we're under watch, so to speak, and just to tread carefully. And that's just like Greg Evenson said. He asked somebody, "Is that a threat?" And that person said, "No, it's your final warning." So that's kind of where we're at with everything. So I'll tell you what, we're in this together, Sheila.
Exactly. So I pray for you every night. Here's Joe sitting there. He's just married. I'm sure at some point he'd like to have a family. And he's very much up on what's going on here, and it's wrong what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's totally wrong, and they're going to get a big surprise.
I don't
think they think.
No, I don't think it's going to go as they think it's. I don't think it's going to go as they planned, and I don't know exactly. But I was talking to someone today. It's going to be I believe it's going to really. Things are going to economically. There's going to be an economic trigger and a war trigger at the same time, and that's going to keep Obama in office. But look, Sheila, we got to move on to another call. I just want to say thank you for the call, man. I'll tell you.
Okay, well, you have a good night.
You take care.
Sheila.
All right.
God bless you.
God bless you. Yes, indeed. That was a great call. I like her. I like her a lot. I like everybody. I like all of our callers.
Yeah. We're going to go to West Virginia here, 304 area code.
Yes.
Familiar caller. You're on live with the Hagmann and Hagmann Report.
Hello, gentlemen. It's Richard again.
Richard.
I just wanted from West Virginia.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to let you guys know that I had some good news for all the homosexuals and lesbians and the people that love the devil out there. They all say they were born that way. I got news for them. Christ came so they could be born again.
Well, that's
Amen.
They don't have to say that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Their excuses, that's all they are. They can be born again, but they got to want to. But the thing about it is that, they don't want to. They really like their lifestyles. And, all these things that's happening in the world, man, it's unbelievable. And just to see people not to be able to open their eyes and know what's going on right around them.
You're right.
It's mind-boggling to an extent. But, people got to understand there's going to come a time in their lives when the good Lord will turn them over to a reprobate mind. That's what His Word says. You have to stand on His Word because it is total truth. It's like you guys, you say, take what we say, as in you guys, and, pray about it, take it to the Lord. And that's the right thing. But the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the very Spirit of God, He lets you know who to listen to.
That's true. Yeah, I believe that.
I just want to let these people know, that they can be born again, and that's why He came, so that we wouldn't have to go through some of the things that He did. But we are going to suffer in this life, and we're going to have trials and tribulations. But I think that for most people that those times have passed, because we're coming to the end. It's like the Bible says, just like you said earlier, Joe, that no man knows the minute or the hour, but the good Lord said we know when it's near. You'll feel it when it's near, and I believe we're there.
Yeah, you feel it, caller, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. There's not a question in my mind.
Raised level of anxiety, raised level of the feeling that something is wrong, that something isn't normal. This is the physiological effects of the changing of the universe, of the heavenly bodies, making preparation to open up hell for the war in heaven and in space, and the energy level is rising, and that is an indicator. That is a sign given to us by the Lord to let us know, something's not right.
Absolutely.
That's why it's our internal compass.
And there's the one great thing is this, because I'm like a lot of people that listen to you all. I have 4 children, and I ask the good Lord to help me to prepare the best that I can. But there is one thing that people do need to understand. You really need to believe in the God that you say you serve, because He said He would not leave us or forsake us. People worried about where they're going to go, what they're going to do. They need to really dig deep down inside themselves and understand what faith they really have. That faith needs to be in their God and not in their flesh, because their flesh is going to let them down. You know, they need to keep their trust and hope in the Lord, because that's the only way I make it. Honest to goodness, if I don't know how people do make it that don't have God in their life.
You know, I agree with you.
What refuge do they find?
See, I look, I like that. I agree with you, because there was a time when I was not as in tune or not as spiritual as I am now, and there was a huge, just this huge gap in me, and I could feel it. And you know, it's like it's like an investigation that we're doing, and you got all these bits and pieces of evidence, but you're missing something, and it's right in front of you, and it's called God. You know, it's called and once you put that into the equation, man, it changes everything.
It sure does. I appreciate you guys taking my call. I just wanted to put that out there. You know, give people some hope. You know? Thank
you, and I'll tell you, we need hope, and thank you for doing that. Thanks for sharing that.
Amen. Thank you, caller.
Thanks for taking.
We got about 4 minutes left of the show. I want to read this Bible verse because this pertains to what we were talking about tonight. It's Timothy, 2 Timothy, verse 3, chapters 3. I'm sorry, to chapter 4, and this is talking about the last days. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, contentious, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godlessness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses, and led captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts.
See, that's today.
Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. And that reminds me of the ETs, you know, always trying to learn, always trying to expand knowledge beyond what, you know, is already there. And it says, but they shall proceed no further, for their folly shall be manifest unto all men, and theirs was also. But thou shalt have fully known my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long-suffering, charity, patience, persecutions, afflictions, which came unto me at Antioch and Iconium, and this is talking about his personal story.
Right.
It goes on to say, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse, and worse, deceiving, and being deceived. But continue thou in these things that which hast learned, and hath been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. And it says, it goes on to talk about the doctrine, about how a time will come, this is Timothy chapter 4, verse 3, for a time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned into fables. But watch out in these things, endure affliction, do the work of the evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry. And it goes on from there. But yes, again, Timothy, 2 Timothy chapter 3.
Describing the conditions.
Lovers of self, disobedient, proud, prideful, boastful, unthankful, unholy, without affection, truce breakers, disobedient.
And the level of betrayal we're seeing right now, and the level of well, look at Chick-fil-A, for example, the level of lust and homosexuality and the lack of morality. I'll tell you what, there's a party going on right now in hell because of the spiritual, or the rips in our moral fabric of this country.
And so many times in the Bible, when it starts with the saying, in the last days, you read those words after that saying, in the last days, and you find something that is not
90 seconds.
That, you know, or has not already happened. Yep. In the last days, there will be X, Y, and Z, it says. Everything has happened. It says in the last days.
Pretty much
turned to the worst that it's ever been in the history of mankind, as far as we know it. Maybe even before the days of Noah, due to the technology we have now. But it is bad. We are at the end times. We need to understand the times that we are in. We do not know the date nor the hour, as we stated earlier. We can only tell you to watch for the
60 seconds.
We are in a season of trouble. and pray, fast, and beg the Lord for mercy, repent for your sins, ask for understanding, knowledge, and guidance, and He will answer your prayer.
I'll tell you what, keep your eyes, too, on what's going on around you. Keep your eyes on the national news. Keep your eyes on the local news. Keep your eyes on just be aware of what's going on, because we do need that element of knowledge, and you've got to be aware of things going on around you. We'll be watching here in this end, and we'll let you know as things develop. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like our program, please tell a friend, and if you can, support us. If you can't, just support us through prayer and
10 seconds.
Spread the word about our show. Yeah.
And
we appreciate each and every one of you who've listened. 8 months ago till now, a year and a half ago. We love you all.
Have a good night. Till tomorrow.